Like a lot. Can everyone hear me okay? We good? Can you hear me in the cheap seats? All right. So who's an Instagrammer here? Who likes Instagram? Show hands, show hands. Okay, here's the tip. Here's the tip. This is the thing you need to know, right? There are 2 times a day where Instagrams are just fucking awesome. It's right now. And exactly, the sun's coming down, sun's coming up. This is when the lighting is perfect. If you want to get good at Instagram, you got an hour each day to actually go and do this. So I taught that trick to my wife, and now she's better at me than Instagram. It's kind of annoying. Anyway, hi guys. I'm going to do a talk for you. This is the first time I've done this talk. It's going to be a little bit of spoken word, maybe some hand waving at some point, but we're just going raw. We're under an avocado tree. Deal with it. Here we go. The talk is called Stables and Volatiles. A little bit about me. I don't know how to use a computer much, but as was just introduced, I consider myself sort of a nerd whisperer. This is what I've been doing for the last 15 years or so. I was trying to figure out how to explain nerds to nerds because I am a nerd. My background is I was at Netscape. Before that I was at Borland. I spent the last 8.5 years working at Apple, getting yelled at by Steve Jobs. What I like to do is figure out how to get all of these colorful characters that we have as nerds working together. So that's why I've written a couple books on this. I am under an avocado tree. I'm not sure why I'm here. Shane just kind of mailed me, and there's something going on in LA, and I was curious just to come down here and see what was going on. So there's an avocado tree. This is kind of amazing. What he asked me to talk about was disruption. And I'm standing in the light, sorry. Damn, it's all over the place. It's great for Instagram. Talk about disruption. And the thing I want to start with, I want to give you a little bit of a thesis. And then I want to tell you a little bit of what I think about what nerds believe. And then I'm going to tell you why war is fucking awful. This will all make sense when I'm done, maybe. My first thesis for you is this. You are in a hurry. I've been staring at resumes for thousands of resumes for years and years and years. And the thing that I know is that whatever you're doing right now, I don't know what you're doing right now, your gig has an expiration date. It's about 3 years. 3 years is what I see when people on their resumes, when they're working with me. 3 years for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I'm not a psychologist. At some point at 3 years, people, they get bored and they quit and they go do something else. Who knows why? But the thing is, the thing I want you to think about to kind of start right now is like, you are at the most 3 years away from doing something totally new. I don't know what it is you do, but I just keep on seeing this. Even at Apple, I was there for almost 9 years. I had 3 different jobs, and it was like clockwork. Like 2.5 years in, I'd be like, all right, kind of bored, Mac OS 10 server, it's not going anywhere, what's next? And he said, hey, you got to do a wiki and a calendar. And I'm like, oh, calendar server, wiki server, that sounds really interesting. 1.5, 2 years, and it goes so well, bored. Oh, hey, you go run the online store. I'm like, this is cool. So this is the thing that I want you to think about, is you're going to go do something new at some point in the next 3 years. The question is, what people do you want to take with you? For your next 1.0, who are you going to need? So first, I want to give you a bit of little nerd history, because I think this is, you're like, how many nerds in the crowd? Show of hands. Nerds? Okay, a few. Yeah. A lot of nerds in LA, that's good. I want to tell you a little bit about the culture before I kind of explain who you need to go gather together to go do your next 1.0. So, nerd history. I'm a Silicon Valley kid, Borland, Netscape, Apple, these were all very famous companies. I remember when Silicon Valley was an orchard. I remember when there was trees. Someone else does too. The thing about Silicon Valley is that now it's this big, huge, sprawling metropolis, not really, it's this big, huge suburbia thing, where but the thing about it that's really unique, it's really fascinating, and what defines it is it's full of engineers. We have incredible nerd density, right? And my question is, how do we get all of these folks into this 1,854 square mile spot? What happened? And it's really interesting. There's actually a moment. There was actually a group of people that set this tone for nerds. How many of you know William Shockley? William Shockley, 1, 2, 3, it's an important person to know. William Shockley invented a thing called the transistor. And William Shockley was an asshole. He was a Nobel Prize winning asshole. Now, having dealt with a lot of really bright people in my career, you see these really smart people that are really hard to deal with. Shockley won the Nobel Prize, and then he went to Palo Alto, and he gathered up the best talent that he could. He got like 8 folks there, and they were all incredibly talented from the best schools, but he was a horrifically bad manager, right? So what happened was, his 8 folks, they were called the traitorous 8, they actually said, screw this noise, we're going to go somewhere else, and we're going to go build our own transistors. These guys, I think they're all guys, these guys basically formed, which is all of the Silicon Valley, whether it's Fairchild, whether it's Intel, but that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that they wanted to have nothing to do with this guy, this crazy person. They wanted to be meritocratic. They wanted to have an organization that was flat. They wanted to have speed. They wanted free flowing of ideas. They got rid of all of this East Coast crap with executives, with parking spots. They wanted people to all work in the same area. They got rid of the suits. Does this sound familiar to you? This is the Silicon Valley. And it's the same way here in 2013, it's the same thing where one of the things they decided to do was to give people stock options. Stock options, you should just go to the executives. They said, it's flat. We are going to have an egalitarian workplace. And this has permeated the Silicon Valley to this day. You walk around, you see Zuckerberg in a hoodie with the shoes and everything, you go like, oh, he's trying. This has been going on for 40, 50 years. The counterculture in the Silicon Valley. We are interested, nerds, engineers, are interested in not what you're wearing, you're interested in what you do. What are the results? What are the things that you can actually build? My current company, we call it the second test. The second test, it's really hard to get to the company I'm at. The second test is going and building something of obvious value to your peers. And they don't tell you what it is. You have to figure it out, what that thing is that you're going to actually go and build. We don't trust you until you've actually built that thing of value, which is really hard. It's like there's no spec. It's like you have to figure out the organism. We're a company of 700 people. You've got to figure it out. You've got to go build something. This is a sort of Silicon Valley mindset. This is the engineering mindset, in my opinion. It's the hacker mindset. How many of you have a negative connotation when I say the word hacker? Negative connotation? Not in this crowd. I didn't think so. It's not a bad word. There's this media-induced negative knee-jerk reaction to this word, this guy who's doing this nefarious thing. This is not at all what hacker means. Hacker is a noble word. Hacker is, there's this great shot I have on the screen here. I'll show you, because I'm reading my notes here. This is a half-scale model of the lunar lander. Someone built it on top of the Great Dome at MIT. They don't know who did it. They don't know who's going to clean it up. It woke up and there's a goddamn lunar lander on the Great Dome. This is an MIT tradition, and it's an MIT tradition of hacks, right? Go do something interesting, creative, at a high intensity level. This is what hackers do. I'm guessing there's a lot of you sitting here right now. And it doesn't apply just to computer programming, it applies to any creative act. How are you hacking? Engineers are system thinkers. Nerds tend to be system thinkers. We want to understand how it works. How does it fit together? What are the rules of the universe? This comes from our deep appreciation of a computer. I realize it's a cliche, but we've got powerful with this tool. We started to feel powerful with this thing. So we like this idea of the world having a defined set of inputs and have a defined set of outputs. We are looking for the flowchart. How does it all fit together? We love signal, and we hate noise. We want to find, chaos is interesting, but it's more interesting when you can figure out what is the pattern behind all this sort of stuff. And we're risk takers. I think other than the really crappy way that we dress in the Silicon Valley, the thing that's really interesting about the place is that we're risk takers. We like to take risks. we actually assume whatever we're going to do is going to fail, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. 1 out of 10 startups are successful. If I told you there was a 90% chance that you're going to get out from under this avocado tree and get hit by lightning, you would stay under the tree. This isn't based. What is it about this mindset, these engineers, these nerds, that they like failure? It's not failure to them. It's not failure to us. We like these things that we do. We like to go build things because we get to learn. And failure, whatever. That's interesting. What we like to do is we like to learn something by building it. That's the value to us. Risk, whatever. When you look at the companies I've been at, Borland and Netscape and Apple, each of these companies started with a hack. I'm going to go build a Pascal compiler. Pascal, what the hell is that? I'm going to go build a browser, World Wide Web browser. What the hell is that? I'm going to go build a personal computer. Each of these guys, gals, sat there doing a hack. This is what incepted. This is their 1.0. There's this picture. This is my team in Palo Alto. That's Gary Kasparov. You can all see that really clearly. Gary Kasparov is a grand master at chess or something like that. We invited to come in and kick our ass at chess. Did blitz chess. There was like 20 tables there, and he just went around and just kicked everyone's ass. Right? Boom, boom, boom. You lose, you lose, you lose. It was fascinating. But the thing about this picture that's interesting isn't that there's this grand master at chess sitting there kicking my team's ass at chess. It's that it's 3 deep. The people are watching him and going like, they know they're going to lose. They know they're going to fail. They're sitting there learning, and they're fascinated by this process of watching this guy go and kill people at chess. All right. Engineers, nerds, we have an urge to build a thing, to go do our 1.0. So, this is a weird segue. My question to you is, you're 3 years away from doing whatever this thing is, who do you need? I would argue I've written a lot about this in a lot of different ways, but one of the spectrums I want to think about is this idea of stables and volatiles. These are 2 personality types that I want you to think about a little bit. And I'll explain it. I'll explain it by talking about Stefan. Stefan, at my first startup, which failed, and I learned a lot. Showed up before I got there. A team of about 7 engineers. They were merrily cranking away. They were never going to finish. They were just lost. There wasn't someone there driving them. So Stefan walks in. He spends about a week and a half. We contractor we brought in to do some database crap. Came in after 2 weeks like, this is a nightmare. This is a cluster. I'm going to actually go fix this. So he said, you come in here. You go in the ping pong room. You go in the ping pong room too. We're going to sit down and we're going to make it work. And what he did over the course of about 3 weeks was he made the ping pong room smell really bad. And they finished the first 1.0 of the product. And it was hacked together, and it didn't really perform, but we could all look at it and see that it was done. Stefan was a volatile. I want you to talk about the 2 personalities that we have here, stables and volatiles. Who are these people that I'm talking about? A stable, to me, is someone who happily will work with direction. They like to be told what to do. Guessing not a lot of you like this. They like when there's a plan. They appreciate schedules. They play nice with others. They get along because a team working together, getting rid of that noise, getting rid of that friction, makes them happier. They assess risk. They carefully work to mitigate failure. They, however distant or improbable it might be, they tend to generate process. They tend to be political. They tend, not in a bad way, but they tend to like bureaucracy because it makes things predictable. It makes things measurable. They are known for their calm reliability. These are good people. These are awesome people. On the other end of the spectrum is the people that I call volatiles. I'm guessing there's a lot of them sitting with me under this tree right now. These are people who prefer to define strategy rather than follow it. They cannot conceive of failing. They don't even think about it. It's like, I'm just going to go fucking do it, and we'll see what happens. It's not in even their makeup to even conceive that they could fail at it. They like the thrill of that challenge. They often don't build stable or beautiful things, but they sure do build a lot of things. They get a lot of stuff done. They are only reliable when it's in their best interest. It's really annoying when you're trying to get something done. They see working with others as time-consuming, onerous. They prefer to work in small, autonomous units, and they could give a shit how you feel. They don't care. It's not that they're bad, it's that they're focused on this thing. They're volatile. They tend to leave this disruption in their wake because they go and they smash things that other people cherish. More importantly, most importantly, these two guys and gals, these two spectrums, they hate each other. They hate each other. The volatiles believe the stables are fat and lazy and political and bureaucratic. The stables, they believe the stables are the man. And the stables believe the volatiles, they hold nothing sacred. They do whatever the hell they want, company, team, product, be damned. The thing about it, with these two groups, for your next 1.0, whatever it is that you're doing, here's the news. They're both right. They're both right. Their opinions of each other are absolutely correct, which is kind of sad. This means these people are going to be warring in your team, in your small team, your big team, whatever it is. Second, my advice to you is that you want this war. You want these people to be fighting together. Because in that you need the stables there to get shit done, and you need the volatiles there to mix it up. So let's leap ahead, to give you a model of this. Let's leap ahead to where do these people come from? How do they exist? So let's jump ahead to your 1.0. You just did it. You're done. Hooray. Whatever the success is, you have achieved it. Their money's coming in. You got it out the door. Something happened for you to actually get over that big hump to be success. I don't know what that is, but you're there. And you know it because other people are getting hired. There's money coming in. Who knows? You got your 1.0 done. What happened to actually get there? How many of you have done something brand new? How many of you have done a startup? How many of you have done a startup? Show of hands. Was it a lot of work? Was there despair? Was there yelling? Was it awful? The thing about startup experience is you're gonna bleed. You're gonna bleed. And the thing about it is it's probably, if it's a startup, it's a lot of volatiles. And they get together and they get something done. They get something done, and once they've got it done, they're like, whew, thank God, it's done. And the thing that's really interesting that happens to them is that they go from this volatile state of creating this thing from chaos to this stable state because they're protecting it. They say, it's okay. We need to protect this thing that we've built, right? It was so hard to get here. So we have to protect it. The metaphor I always think about is special forces and regular army. The volatiles are these special forces folks. You say, go take that hill. I don't care what you do, just go and do it, right? And they love it, and there's no definition, and they just go up there, but they capture the hill, right? And then they have to defend it. And when that happens in the army, the regular army shows up, and these guys just kind of sit there and make sure that everything's okay. That's what happens in this case where you have a 1.0. The people who are originally the volatiles, they slowly turn into stables because they bled. But here's the thing. This is what they hire, right? After this, they start to hire people that look like them. They hire people that are them. What do? They don't hire stables. These volatiles who have become stables are now hiring more volatiles. And these guys and gals come in there and they look at it and they go, wow, this is bright and shiny, and look at the success that we've had. This is amazing. But all the success is boring to them. They want to disrupt. They want to do something new, right? They want to go build that new thing. And they start to do whatever skunkworks projects, and then the stables show up and say, you do not want to do this. Did you see the 1.0 we did? This was awful. Do you see these scars to get here? This was awful. Do you want a piece of this? You don't, because it was war to get here, and war fucking sucks. Right? So there's this tension. And what happens is, in a lot of companies, and a lot of things, is they invite the new folks in who start to disrupt things, and they get fired and they leave. And it becomes boring. Volatiles want war. It's not what they want. What volatiles want is they want disruption. They want that thing that's brand new. They want to pull something out of chaos. They don't want to play it safe at all. My favorite story of this is actually something at Apple. I don't remember the date. I think it was 97. How many of you remember the metal-colored iPod mini? You remember this? It's beautiful, right? It was the first small one. It was metal. They had color to it. And for a year, they could not keep it on the shelves. They couldn't keep it on the shelves. It was the best-selling consumer device ever. And Steve got up on stage a year later, and he shit-canned the whole thing. The sales up and to the right, they could not make enough. And he said, nope, we're going to actually get rid of the whole damn thing. And they replaced it with the iPod Nano. They had a guaranteed hit. They could have made, I don't know how much money. They could have made a huge amount of money. And he said, nope, I'm going to disrupt myself. You could see in that year how all the other MP3 players were catching up. And what did they look like? What did they look like? They looked like the iPod mini. And he said, nope, I'm not even going to let them catch up. I'm going to disrupt myself. I'm going to go and restart an entire life. Yes, it was probably because flash prices got to the point that it made sense. But still, they could have waited 6 months and just cashed in. But rather than let it be stable, he made it disruptive. This is what happens at Apple all the time. Is you're sitting there and you're talking to your friend Frank. And you have lunch. Hi, John. You're having lunch with John. And you have lunch with him every week for a year. And John disappears. Where did John go? Skunkworks project. John got pulled into the sink because John's a very talented engineer and a handsome man as well. Disappeared. And he went in, they go and they start these other organizations, these Skunkworks organizations, and no one actually knows what they're doing. And I see John. It's been 6 months, and I see him, he's got a beard now, and I'm like, hey, dude, we've been having lunch forever. You're my pal. What are you working on? And John looks at me, he's like, can't tell you. This is a secret inside of the company. It's as secret inside of the company as outside, which sounds weird. It sounds like I should be included because John and I are friends. No, it's disruptive, and it keeps people in the company kind of on their heels. You're in a hurry. You guys are in a hurry. You are 3 years away from doing something new. There are many, you get to choose to do one of two courses. You can coast and die, or you can disrupt. There are amazingly wonderful companies out there that are coasting and they're dying. IBM, HP, these are making piles of money. You cannot argue with the success of these things, but there's no volatiles there, because volatiles walk in the door and they go, do you smell that? Do you smell that? That's the smell of stagnation. And it smells shitty, right? Right? The people that want to see something bright and shiny, they walk in and they go, wow, bureaucracy. Things not happening, not a sense of excitement. Volatiles want nothing to do with the sense of stagnation because it smells like death to them. A healthy company that wants to continue to grow, a healthy team that wants to grow, is investing equally in their stables and in their volatiles. They're both there, and they exist. And the thing about the stables are there to remind you about the reality, to define a process where large groups can be organized. They bring you predictability, credibility, repeatability to execution. They build a healthy world by which things get done. These are valuable people. The volatiles are there to remind you that nothing lasts. That the world is, they consider it their mission in life to replace everything, to break things, and to start and do new things. Because stable is boring, it's inefficient, it's uninspired. You can't, the thing about these two groups is that they just constantly war. Half of my job as a leader in a company is making sure these two groups don't kill each other. I do this all day long. I have the folks that just don't want to be led and the folks that are just happy to fairly, and there's equal judgment. They are both wonderful groups of people. My current model for doing this inside of my own company is I'm actually disrupting myself. It's called a blitz. What we do is we actually say, you three are great engineers, you're a QE person. What I'm going to do, and my company is doing great. There's lots of work to do. 5 minutes, thank you. And I'm going to take you guys, I'm going to go put you in this farmhouse over here, whatever this thing is over here. You have 3 months, and you get to do whatever you want. whatever you want. I would prefer if you did something within the company's universe, but if you don't, that's okay. In a company, sounds like I'm big, I'm not that big right now. In a company where the engineering is 70, 80 people, I'm taking 3 of my best folks, letting them go into this room, letting us do work for 3 months, it's a pretty big bet. I'm investing quite a bit. But the thing about it is they get to choose. They get to disrupt. I don't tell them what to do. And they go and hopefully, because we're doing one right now, they actually build something brand new. That's the blitz. So in closing, you're in a hurry. It's going to change. It's going to change quickly. It's going to change in the next 3 years in some way that you can't predict. And my question to you is, who do you want to be? And they're both equally good. Do you want to be a stable, which is great, or do you want to be a volatile? Thank you very much.